Welcome to today's webinar presented by Supercoder.com. Supercoder.com is an online coding solution offering Part A and B coding reference tools, resources, and not more than 30 specialty coding and compliance newsletters from the Coding Institute in one site. I hope you enjoy this short session.
And a freelance author for HC Pro Incorporated, writing e-learning courses for JustCoding.com. Ellen, welcome to the program. We are now ready to begin.
Thank you, Diana, and thank you, everyone, for joining me for today's audio on Condition Code 44. Know-it-all. Before we start, I just have a quick disclaimer on slide number 2. I'm here today as an independent agent, and I'm not representing my full-time job, and the material presented and the additional handouts are created based on my experience and training. If we run out of time during this session, I will do my best to answer additional questions via email after this conference, and my email is provided on the title slide. On slide number 3 is the outline for today's presentation. We will start to talk about the increased government scrutiny and why there is such a focus on admissions versus observations and inpatient and outpatient, and also the use of Condition Code 44. As you know, there is still a lot of confusion on how to report Condition Code 44, and hospitals that routinely use Condition Code 44 may end up sending red flags to the RAC auditors that they do not have the proper protocols in use. We will look at some definitions. We will talk about the documentation and billing requirements, and then also some of the recent Condition Code 44 frequently asked questions. If we have time, we will also look at Section 5 of my presentation, which is for physician observation services. It is hard for me to present without including the physician impact, although most of the attendees that are looking at Condition Code 44 are probably, more focused on the hospital side. I think it's important to understand the impact on the physician side. So we might not get through all of those slides, but I wanted you to have them as your reference. And then last, we're going to look at some audit consideration for your compliance program if this is something you have not already looked at. Slide number 4 are the handouts that I provided with my presentation today, and the first two are the latest revisions to the Medicare Claims Processing Manual, which is publication 100-4, and it's Chapter 1, and this is the publication where Condition Code 44 regulations are. So I included those so you can see the two latest revisions. If I had given you the manual pages instead, you would not see in red what actually has been revised. That's why I used the transmittals for this. And the last handout, number 3, is a patient pamphlet created by CMS, I believe, back in December 2010, that is intended for patient education, and the title is, Are You a Hospital Inpatient or Outpatient? If you have Medicare, you should ask. So those are the additional things that I wanted you to have access to. So on slide 5, these are just topics in the first section on why there is such an increased scrutiny. And if we go on to slide 6, you will see that we're going to talk about the campaign to cut waste. As you know, Medicare is built on trust, and there are minimal controls in place considering the 1.2 billion claims that are processed by computers each year. Medicare is often referred to as the pay and chase system, where Medicare will pay and then chase the payments that are incorrect afterwards. Although this past year, back in June, HHS and CMS announced new technology to fight Medicare fraud and inappropriate payments. So this is going to enable the government the ability to collect and analyze more information than ever before. And this campaign to cut waste was announced by President Obama back in 2010. Where he announced 3 goals for cutting the improper payments in the federal health care system by 2012. And some of those goals are to reduce the overall payment error rate by $50 billion, cutting the Medicare fee-for-service error rate in half, and we'll look at that in a few more slides, and also recovering $2 billion in improper payments. This is part of the Affordable Care Act, which fights fraud and abuse by providing additional funding. And the additional funding over the next 10 years is $350 million. So you can expect more increased government scrutiny on all these services. This act also provides for toughened sentencing for criminal activity, enhances screenings and enrollment requirements. And there was just a announcement yesterday that also talks about the tougher things that can happen to providers as far as them being able to withhold payment. So,
Supercoder is the fastest growing online reference tool with more than 25,000 subscribers. Call 866-228-9252 to get a free product demo or sign up at supercoder.com for a 7-day free trial.